Welcome to the Digital Dreaming Off the Gridiron podcast. I am your host, Asif Ali. I am joined today by returning guest and the first ever active NFL player to appear on the podcast, Alex Tchangam. Alex, how you doing today?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How you doing?
Doing good. So yeah, I don't think we actually formally met because last time you were on the show back in April, we had Nate and Maya interview you and Molly. So I actually got to watch that episode over, and it was pretty interesting to hear kind of your guys' experiences and your journeys. So obviously, I mean, I'll start off kind of introducing you about me. I'm Asif. This is the podcast, and essentially, basically, my story was interesting. I actually heard you talk about this in a recent podcast. So you actually didn't play football in high school when you went the JUCO route, and that was similar to me. And
Right, right.
yeah. So obviously, and I think you said you're born. Did you go to high school? You went to high school here, but you were born and raised in Cameroon, right?
I was I was born and raised in Cameroon, but I really grew up in Georgia.
In Georgia. Okay. So you went to high school in
Yeah, that's
Georgia.
what in Georgia. Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. All right, cool. So let's start from the
yeah, yeah.
beginning. Yeah. So I mean, we don't have to go too much into detail because you already talked about your early life and your upbringing. But actually, I do want to ask the question again. So, what inspired you to play football your senior year? Because for me, what inspired me was just like at the point of my junior year, senior year. That's when I realized, man, I really wanted to play, and I feel like I missed my opportunity. And now here I am, my
Yeah,
senior year, right? And I'm like, damn, like what are my
yeah,
options? And so I reached out to coach, and coach says, yeah, he's like, you can try out, but your options are gonna be pretty limited. And we have guys who've been playing all 4 years, and JUCO and JV guys who are probably gonna get preference, based on their tryouts. And he's like,
right, right. Yeah,
and obviously with me, I didn't know anything about football. I didn't know anything about the wide receiver position. I didn't know anything. So I mean, it would have been a moot point for me to try out for the team at that point. So kind of, what was your experience like, at that during your senior year, and kind of how did you really kind of break in?
for me, I mean, throughout just like high school in general, like I was watching football a lot. And then so my thing was like in high school, like I had just I made a lot of mistakes, like in terms of like passing
Yeah,
classes, being like eligible to, yeah,
yeah,
like eligible to play,
yeah.
yeah, eligible to play and stuff like
Right.
that. So then my senior year, I was behind on credit, like credit wise to graduate.
Mm.
So I knew that towards like the end of my high school, like my 4 years of high school, I knew that I wanted to play football, and I knew that I couldn't just go to no D1. Like I ain't have like I didn't play, and I didn't play in high school, so I knew I had to take the JUCO route.
Right.
And and then the way I even found out about the Anza was one of my boys back in Georgia. Shout out to Ed, by the way. But yeah, one of my boys out in Georgia, he was going to Deanza to play basketball, and I was looking for a JUCO to go to, and then I was just like, one day he was just like, "Yo, I'm going to Cali. Like, you want to come?" I was like, "Yeah, let's go. Let's do it."
So kind of talk to me about kind of what that process was like relocating to Cali, and kind of how was that transition, right? Because I mean, which part of Georgia were you from? What city?
Johns Creek, Alpharetta.
Alpharetta. So that's kind of, yeah, that's not, yeah. So that's kind of like a metro area, but like a small metro area, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So that process, the way it worked was, my dad knew I was looking for JUCOs to go to. So like at first, I went to a few Mississippi JUCOs. I went to Oklahoma to like see what that was about. Mississippi was not really a state I was feeling. Like I didn't really feel the vibe like it's home.
Yeah.
So, but I went there, I tried out, everything was good, but it just didn't feel like the right fit for me. So then my friend told me, when he told me about that JUCO in Cali, like I was like, oh, I ain't never been to California. Like this is my first time. Like I get to just go to California like that. So I decided to go with him. We went there, but I had already spoke with the head coach like
Yeah.
weeks prior, though. I told him I was gonna come out. I kind of explained my situation, the money situation, that like I didn't really have like much money and stuff like that. And then they didn't do scholarships. So at the end of the day, I was betting on myself because I knew what I wanted. Like at the end, my dream was always to play in the NFL. And so then once we got to Cali, I was staying with one of my teammates, and it was just different because this was like the first time ever me like being on my own, and like living with another like person that I don't know, never met, like. So it was at first it was an experience, like for sure an experience. But then eventually, once I got comfortable, understood like just been around, like I was just going around Cali a lot, and then I kind of just knew how things were. I started like making like good relationship with the coaches and the players. Then everything just became comfortable.
Absolutely. I do think, kind of the culture shock and the culture shift, that's something that you do have to kind of, consider. And
Right.
when you're exploring JUCOs, was it a process that they were actually reaching out to you, or were you reaching out to them? Because for me, I had to reach out to them because I didn't have any film or anything. So what was that like for you?
So for me, I had to reach out to them, but a
Right.
lot of coaches, how it is when you first call a coach. You're like, "Hey, coach, like I'm trying to play football."
Yeah.
I'm sure the first thing to think about in their head is like, "This is probably some guy who's not serious. He probably just doesn't work." Like you know what I mean? Like he doesn't put no
100%.
like work in. He's probably just lays on the couch, like doesn't work out and stuff like that. But like with me, I was always staying in shape, always working out.
Right.
So I think once I got on the phone with Coma, because that was the only school I visited. Once I got on a call with him, like with the coach, and I was like, "Oh, I'm trying to come visit and see like what the campus looked like, and then see the coaches." And then when they saw me in person, I'm like, "Oh, wow!" Like you actually, it kind of shocked them. I feel like, because I was training and staying in shape.
It's funny you mentioned that because even for me, I used that fall my senior year to basically do weight training, kind of enroll weight training, and just by
Yeah,
chance, the teacher for weight training was the wide receivers coach for a high school football team, right?
yeah, yeah,
And so
yeah.
and so
So
it's, yeah, and so it kind of helped a little because when I was speaking to the head coach, Coach Mannion, who's the dad of Sean Mannion, who's on the Vikings now, right?
hmm
Yeah, he's all like I told him the same thing, like your story's like mine, like hey coach, I want to play, and then but he's like, oh, but you're a senior. I'm like, yeah, I'm like, so what do you think? And then he said JUCO, right? And that's when I started looking into JUCOs, right? And essentially,
right.
I told him, for my size, 5'10", buck 50, or actually back then buck 35. He's all like, okay, like your options are probably going to be defensive back because your size and if you can learn kind of how to backpedal, learn how to transition, learn how to read routes, and learn how to do that, you'll be good. And but then I spoke to the our teacher, right, in weight training, Coach Brown, and basically I said, yeah, Coach Brown, I'm going to try for JUCO, right, and that's why I'm in the weight training. I'm
Yeah,
trying to get my body right and everything. And he basically
yeah.
said, and he's like, why don't you play for our school? I'm like, well, because I'm a senior. And then he's like, why didn't you play before? I'm like, my grades, G, like my grades are all bad, B. Like, I just remember because like my first freshman year, I had a 0.0 GPA. My sophomore year,
Yeah,
I had like a 1.0. Like because I wasn't taking classes. You like kind of to your point, like skipping classes, not
yeah,
really
yeah,
applying. It's not a matter of intelligence because you can see where I am today. It was just a
yeah.
matter of applying myself, right? So to your point, so
Right.
when I started reaching out to like all the JUCOs here in the Bay, Chabot, DVC, all that, they're like, oh, we're all stacked. Chabot's coach literally told me this in the email. He said, Asif, he's all like, I appreciate it, but we're so stacked at receiver, and since you never played before, it's gonna be really hard for you to get into this. But wish you all the best. And then, but that was just more motivation for me. You know what I mean? That was just more motivation for me to continue reaching out, right? And so then
Right.
eventually, by chance, kind of like you, like I found my way to the South Bay at San Jose City because I was taking a math requirement at San Jose City.
Mhm.
I found out they have a team, so I reached out to Coach Connor, Coach C, who was the coach at the time. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
coach, like, I want to play. And he's like, okay, come to my office. And he said the same thing. He's like, okay, are you committed to coming to practice? Are you committed to keeping on top of your grades? I'm like, yeah, of course, But basically then I got to meet Coach Dub my first day of practice. And that was a godsend because Coach Dub is now the passing coordinator on the Baltimore Ravens. And my first practice, James Jones of the Packers is there doing the ladders and doing the drills. So you can imagine what that was like. Like a 17-year-old like me, that's the first thing I see. I'm
James
like,
Jones.
gee, yeah, like I'm like, gee, is this what is this a standard? Because if I gotta do that, bro, I ain't making it out of here
Right,
anytime soon.
right. Yeah, especially if you see James Jones doing
Oh my
ladders,
god,
it's crazy.
bro, I'm just like, gee, fuck all this. I mean, I'm out. Because his hands, his route running, and you know what? He's quiet. He didn't say a word. Lace up the cleats. You know what I mean? No noise.
Yeah.
No noise. Just hit. Just hit. And
Right, right, right.
and that's it. Like, I mean, and but to your point, like that's what coach was like. He wanted to confirm my commitment. He wanted to confirm that I'd be there, and they saw in me that I was going to be committed to this. They saw in me that when I came out to practice, I didn't miss a single practice. I would be there for spring ball. I'd come out to summer ball, and I'd be there through fall. You know, and I basically just keep going. And
Right, right.
the rest was history. So kind of to your point and your story, now that you're on campus, now that you're there that first fall at Anza, or kind of actually no, let's talk before that. When you walk onto Anza and you're basically kind of you're in that spring kind of summer ball mode. Kind of what's going through your mind that first summer ball? Because I remember when I first latched up the helmet, sweat just starts beating down because 95 degrees. I'm like, bro, this shit's hell.
My experience was like a lot like yours, at least I'll say,
Yeah.
because since this was like my first time really putting on helmets and pads and all that,
Yeah. Yeah.
first time I get on campus. And the thing is this, like, that I didn't mention was, before I got to the end, I was training to be a wide receiver.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, I was training to be a wide receiver. I was probably like 220, 225 at the time.
Okay.
So I get to the once I got to the campus, like, I mean, obviously your first time, it's a new place, you get kind of like the jitters, a little bit of like kind of nervous because it's your first time. So I get to the campus and I'm just kind of like, wow, like, this is my first time really on my own, like in
Right.
Cali, just me and my homeboy, like me and my
Right.
homie.
Right.
And then so I get there and I'm just looking at everybody, like, because everybody already has a routine and everybody know each other and you're like the new guy. Everybody just like looking at you. So at first it was like, man, like nerve wracking. But for me it was like, I always had the mindset like, I'm gonna come and whatever happens, like, I'm trying to ball out and get out.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really all JUCO is about. So I mean, so once I got there, I was trying to learn like the receiver position, extremely hard, by the way, learning routes and learning like playbooks and stuff like that, especially first time. Especially my first time. I'm trying to learn. He got all the receivers.
Take a look,
You're a Hall of
folks.
Famer. You're a Hall of Famer.
You already know, baby. You already know what time it is.
Man.
All right, go
Wow,
ahead.
look at you. Look at you. So then I was learning all that, and then it was like difficult at first, but then eventually, like with time, just everything just gets better with time. So
Yep.
then, once the season started, I was just like, I didn't play much, and then like mid season, like the coach put me. I mean, this is how I transitioned to playing on defense.
Yeah.
So then, like mid season, the coach put me on special teams. I got
Special
two
teams.
tackles.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Special teams, man. I got two tackles in the game, and then next thing I know, look at you, special team player of the year, huh?
Go ahead.
Big baller. Hey, look, man, I don't got nothing on my hands.
Hey, you in the NFL and I'm not. Keep going.
so then yeah, like he put me on special teams. I had two tackles, and then I started a transition to being an outside linebacker, defensive end. So I played the last I think 6 games or whatnot. I was an outside linebacker, and then that's when, after that season, off season, I was just training to be a defensive end, and then we had like coaching change and all that, and then the coach that came, out there, he saw the potential in me, and then he was just like, yeah, I'm gonna make this kid, like, I'm gonna really work with him. So he worked a lot with me, and then that's how I became the player that I am, really.
That's a very important point because when I had my college coach on last year, a year and a half ago, Coach Dub, who's going to come back on sometime next week, he also
Yeah.
said that he said the same thing. He saw in me the potential just because I wasn't the fastest, I wasn't the biggest, I had limitations as an athlete, right? But
Mhm.
I knew that if I continue and just stick with it and be consistent, I can make something out of this, right? And
Right.
to your point, special teams was actually how I got my opportunity. And I ended up making a career out of that, post JUCO. But to your point about kind of, obviously, knowing that a coach recognizes you as a potential. When I told coach, when the coach saw me, he's like, you're gonna be my project. I'm like, okay, cool, I appreciate that. You know what I mean? So
Mhm.
essentially, like that, like your point, like sometimes everyone in JUCO is a project to some degree because you're trying to get, like you said, you're trying to elevate yourself to the next level, right?
Right. Right.
Sometimes like you get the D1 Scully, sometimes you don't. In my case, but at the same time, it's okay because as long as you're able to get yourself some film and get yourself, or not even film, just make sure that you're able to kind of make the plays and get your name out there, you're good. And
Right.
sticking
Right.
with it is the most important thing. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of talk to me about kind of so that your coach who kind of worked with you, that this is your freshman year and you're basically your sophomore year you started transitioning over to defense. your sophomore season when you are fully allocated to be playing defensive end and linebacker, or were you fully on defensive end, or kind of
I
how
was
are you
I was strictly just only DN.
DN? Okay. And so kind of
Yeah.
how was that for you for that first full season playing at DN?
So that was actually, I mean, that was one of the best experiences of my life. Having a whole, because my first year I didn't have the whole off season.
Yeah.
I came a little bit late. Like I think it might have been like in the summer, and the season was coming up
Yeah.
already.
Yeah.
So so that year, so my second year, I had the whole off season, the whole like playbook, like just learning everything, just understanding the game more. The more and more you practice, the more and more you get better. Like without even realizing you're getting better.
Yeah.
So so then that season was probably, like I said, was one of my like best season, funnest season ever, because like all the grind that we put together as a team that whole off season, and then to come out and play, like play against somebody else. It was fun. And then I was blessed, like I mean, I was blessed enough to, to be like first team all league and all that stuff, which was like, I mean, it's really all credit to like the D line coaches that had all the coaches really, because like so it's kind of like what you said, like I was their project, like I
Right.
was like their project, and then everything kind of just worked itself out.
And I think Coach Tia was one of those coaches, if I'm not
Oh
mistaken.
yeah, Coach Tia for sure, man. I was with Coach Tia all the time. We talked, like the crazy thing was, I remember this is what he always said to me, like every him and Coach Santos at the time, they always just told me, because like my main thing was, oh, I want to go D1. I always want to go D1. I was like, I want to go to USC. I want to go here. I want to go there. Like all this, right? And then so I just had this big like expectations, like, oh, I want to go to these places. And then I remember them always telling me this. They were just like, if you perform on the field, like all of that is gonna happen, right? And then this is where it got kind of like I was like, okay, like I really want to see, because after my second season, I had like 13 and a half sacks, like 69 or some 68 tackles, and like 23 TFLs. So I was like, I have the numbers. Like I was one of the best players in the state,
Yeah.
but I wasn't getting the offer. So I started getting like frustrated a lot. I was like, bro, like I'm literally one of the best players in the state, and I don't even have like a Division 1 offer. Like, how is this possible? So then I go to the head coach office a lot, and just always tell him like, when is this gonna happen? Like, when is this gonna happen? So like I was impatient a lot, and then he was just like, after you get your first one, that's when they all come in.
Yeah.
And then one day I was in class, and then Kansas came, and that was my first offer. Then after Kansas, then they kind of start piling up, and it was a great experience, man. It was a great experience.
The offers are now here. They're on the table.
Mhm.
Talk to me about your decision process and what made Colorado stand out from all the other schools.
So I took my visit to Kansas,
Mhm.
and then I took my visit to Colorado. Those are the only two visits I took.
Yeah.
So when first of all, in the back of my head, I knew that Kansas is a basketball school.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, these are the first guys who offer me. I'm gonna visit them. Like even if I'm gonna commit somewhere else, I have to visit them because it's like the first school. So then I took the visit to Kansas. Beautiful campus. Everything is nice. But I think the reason why I led more towards Colorado is because Colorado was more of a football school,
Right.
and it was also like, and it was also like in the Pac-12, and the Pac-12 is like a pretty good conference. Not saying Kansas is not a good conference, but I felt like playing the Pac-12 would have been fun for me.
Yeah.
And then also another decision that I chose Colorado was because my friends, like, so one of my friends played at Regis in Denver, and so it would have allowed me to, play my games on Saturday, and then whenever he has games, I can also go watch and play. And I had never visited the state of Colorado, and when I visited Colorado, it was beautiful, the mountains and everything. So yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, Colorado definitely has a stronger football tradition than Kansas, right? I mean, obviously there's been
Mhm.
Heisman Trophy winners and all the whole nine, right? So obviously,
Right.
it seems like a pretty easy decision to make. But I mean, was there also the opportunity when you look at the playing time opportunity? Did you see a difference between Kansas, Colorado, or was it just because of the reputation and the fit?
So I mean, the thing with playing time is like I feel like a lot of people always want to ask coaches like how many minutes or how long am I gonna play or am I gonna start?
Hmm.
But that should never be the mindset like going
Right.
into
Yeah.
because I got nothing is given. You got to
Absolutely.
earn that.
Absolutely.
So so when I got to Colorado, I mean in my head I was like, oh, I just came out of JUCO, had this great year. I'm gonna just go start.
Yeah.
But then you get there, and then there's guys who've been there that know the whole system, and you're kind of behind. And then especially Anza being a quarter system, it kind of messed me up because I got to Colorado kind of late. So you get there, and then you realize that nothing is like given. Like just because you were a great JUCO player, don't mean you're about to come and start. Like you still have to earn. Like you still have to earn your spot.
And to that point, kind of, you mentioned that kind of, I think the scheme and also because obviously I'm not sure what technique or kind of what scheme they're running at Dianza and then what scheme that you had to kind of run at Colorado. But I'm sure there must have been some sort of kind of like adjustment because you did come in late and you also had to kind of come to speed while also being able to compete with returning starters and, other type of incoming, transfers, right?
Right. So at Anza, it was just strictly a fold down team. So I was just the end, just rushing off the
Yeah.
edge. When I got to Colorado, it was a little bit more that I was more of an outside linebacker, dropping coverage, read the offense. So it was an adjustment. So read the coverages, like just understand formations a little more.
Yeah.
So when I got there, it was a big adjustment because I mean just being new to football, there's still a lot of stuff like a lot of stuff I got to learn. So
Like for me personally, when I went from SJCC to West Valley, it wasn't that much of an adjustment because I was still playing special teams primarily for my sophomore season. But then after that,
yeah.
I had the option to walk on at Menlo because we went 0-10 my sophomore year, and I actually
Mhm.
got to play against Coach Tia. That was a sophomore year, we're the same age during
Oh,
that
okay,
time.
that's what's
Yeah,
up. That's
yeah, yeah,
what's
yeah.
up.
Yeah, yeah. So that's how we know each other. But
Okay.
essentially, yeah. So Deanza won the conference. So, but we ended up on losing end. But then I ended up. So instead of kind of to your point about betting on yourself, I decided, the San Jose SaberCats are coming back and basically had a combine. So I decided to kind of go with that and forfeit my last 2 years of eligibility, right? But
Hmm.
essentially, after I tried out for 2 teams or kind of spent like 2 off seasons with 2 different teams, I got cut twice. Then
Hmm.
finally the third year, so 2010, 2011, around 2012, that's when the last arena team, kind of the California Eagles called me and they said, "Yeah, no, come out and try out." And I'm like, "Coach, I've been to 2 different tryouts already. I've spent the off season and it never. And I always end up getting, the one when waivers come around, I always end up getting the phone call. And I'm like, all right, whatever.
Right.
So, but
Yeah.
I essentially just kind of the 2012 season was basically when I finally made the roster, and we ended up winning the Western Conference. So I mean, it was a pretty good season.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. No doubt.
Yeah, no doubt. But to your point, kind of, with that, I had to. It was a huge learning curve from arena to JUCO because it's a completely different scheme. It's a completely different
Right.
game, right? Because
Right.
you're
Right.
constricting a 100-yard field to a 50-yard field, and
Hmm.
and the slot, which is what I played, that you get a 5-yard head start before the ball is even snapped sometimes, or that you do actually. And special teams run differently too. So 8-man versus 11-man, it's a little bit different. So I can understand obviously from D1 to JUCO how much more different that is, even though it's still 11-man. Obviously the book is literally this thick, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And essentially
Thickest.
and you have to learn all the different kind of coverages and where your position will be in every different type of coverage, right? And
Right.
essentially, and that's kind of why, if anyone's listening or whoever it is, prospect student athlete, if you want to go D1, you got to understand, like, you got to learn all this when you step
Hmm.
onto that 4-year kind of campus. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. For sure. Like there's just it's a lot more than just my physical abilities. You got to become an actual football player.
big facts. So obviously, talk to me
Yeah.
about your first season. How was that, and then kind of progress through your Colorado career.
Uh, my first season, I was mainly a third down guy.
Hmm?
I just came in on third downs. I mean, because I mean, I won't say I was a great pass rusher or anything, but I think I had how can I even say that? I think I had like the potential to be a great pass rusher. So the coaches could see that if I work with this guy a little more, then eventually he's gonna become the player that he should be. So So my first year, I had like one sack, or like I think either one or like two sacks. So it wasn't a season that I wanted, obviously. And then my second year, I had like I played way more my second year. I had I think like four or 3.5 sacks, but I was obviously I was like sharing time with one of my other pretty close friends from Colorado, Carson Wells. He's actually gonna be in the draft this year, but yeah, though, but like one of the games, I'll say that like that would always like stick with me is against Nebraska, because I mean I played that whole game and it was one of my best games. I had two sacks against Nebraska and we won at home, and that's a pretty big rivalry too. So yeah, it was a fun game, real fun game.
100%. No, I was gonna ask what your favorite moment was from your college career, and you basically just told me. So the Nebraska
Yeah,
game, two.
that Nebraska game, man, it's one game that I'll never forget. Sometimes I even get on YouTube and just rewatch it.
You got
Yeah,
to, man. You
yeah,
got to.
it was a really fun game.
And to that point, obviously, like you said, like being a third down guy, there's a reason for that. Because for that
Yeah.
scheme, those coverages, you like you said, you can either come off the edge. Because the thing about the OLB, obviously, you can be on you can be on the line doing third down and blitz packages. You
Hmm.
can drop in coverage. You can be
Right,
leveraged in so many different capacities. And obviously, your versatility helped you kind of be used around. It sounds like in
right,
different,
right, right.
yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously, they definitely worked out well in your favor. So, obviously, like you said, Carson Wells is going to be in the draft this year. Now we're done with Colorado. You had a great kind of career at the 4 year. Congrats on that. Now we're in 2020 draft. What's going through your mind? Because obviously, we know what the outcome was, but talk to me what your process was heading into it.
So, um, my main thing. So after my Colorado years, because I didn't play, like I didn't have the stats that I wanted, obviously, like
Yeah.
in college, and so I knew that in order for NFL coaches to even you know try to like look at me, I had to have a good pro day, because I
Right.
didn't get I didn't get invited to the combine.
Right.
I didn't get invited to any bowl games, Reese's, whatever, East and West, none of that. So I was trained. So then I decided to stay in Colorado to train with the weight training coaches. Um, so I can get prepared for a pro day. So I was training. And then once pro day came, I mean, during the process of me training, I was looking for an agent, and I was able to find one with an agent, really good one actually. He's really helped me out a lot. But so the expectation, so this is where things kind of this is where things got a little bit hard for me, because like Avery Scout had me run a 4.8, and had me like putting up 225, like 17 reps. And then so when I met with my agent, I mean, a 4.8 outside linebacker, like any agent would have some kind of doubts on the guy that they're trying to sign. But when I met with him, I spoke with him. I told him, look, like I know myself. Those are just projections. Like I know what I can run. I know what I can do. And then so we ended up building a pretty great relationship, and he believed in me. So once pro day came, I hit 225 27 times, and then my yeah, come on, I gotta flex,
Yeah, you got to, baby. Come on now.
I gotta flex, come on.
Yeah.
I hit it 27 times, and then my 40, I ran a 4.48
Yeah.
at like I think I was 245, 240 at the time. So those numbers helped me a lot. It just like the fact that I ran that fast, it just had a lot of NFL teams at least look at me, because if it wasn't for that pro day, I truly believe I wouldn't be in the NFL right now. I'll still be playing in like a development league, like a spring league, or like the USFL, trying to get a shot to play in the NFL. So just having a great pro day opened a lot of doors for me. And then so after that, I spoke with a few people, and they would tell me, just off of those numbers, I should probably go like undrafted.
Yeah.
And the craziest thing was, after my pro day, like this is where I really like God really blessed me, because after my pro day, everything got shut down. Literally right after my pro, there was no more pro days.
Right.
because of COVID. COVID had hit, and that's when I'm like, man, everything really happens for a reason. Like God was really looking out for me, like, blessing me with a pro day. And I know other people are going through different situations and stuff like that. But so after that, I spoke with some people, and then they were telling me that oh, you should probably go undrafted, such and such, and all that. So I'm sitting there, I'm staying in contact with my agent. I'm like, what do you think is gonna happen? Because for me personally, I didn't think I was gonna get drafted. In my head, I was like, I know I'm not gonna get drafted. Probably undrafted though. The whole draft go by. Obviously, my name's not picked. The whole first day after the draft, second day after the draft, third day after the draft, I don't hear anything. I'm like, okay, like, and then in my head, I'm just thinking, like, man, like, I'm trying to play this season. Like, I literally work my ass off. Like, that was probably one of the hardest summers I've had
Yeah.
training.
Yeah.
So then I would always send videos to my agent, like me training, working out, lifting, running. And then he would send it to like NFL teams. And then the main thing that a lot of NFL teams said, he's too raw. He's this, he's that. And for me, like, that stuff doesn't bring, like, personally, it doesn't like bring me down. Or I know some people, it may hurt their feelings or whatever, but for me, it's more of like a motivational, like a motivation for me. So once that happened, I start like, so then the Jets were one of the very, very first team that always hit me up. The Jets was hitting me up like, oh, we plan on bringing him out. We want to bring him out. We want to do this. We want to do that. And then it was going on for a whole year. So I missed that whole season. And then once the off season came, this is when my agent hit me up like, oh, Seattle is just trying to bring you out for a workout and all this. So I'm like, oh, okay, bet. Like, a different team is like talking to me. So that's a good sign. That's a good sign. But the reason why I had those the reason I had Seattle even, like, think about bringing me was because I played in the spring league, and that was one of the best defensive ends in the spring league, and all the games were like on Fox Sports, so, and stuff like that. But then eventually the season got cut short because we had a COVID outbreak. But so I had played like 2 or 3 games. So I put the film together, sent it to my agent. I put the film together and I sent it to my agent. And then he was just like, okay, bet. He sent it out to NFL teams. He sent it out to a lot of NFL teams. And then I went out to my workout. At Seattle. So first time going to my workout in Seattle, I'm like, wow, like, this is the NFL now.
You made it.
So I get there. Yeah, yeah. I was like, I made it. Like,
Yeah.
so I go out there to Seattle. My first workout, I'm doing everything good. Like, I came in weighing 270. That's how much I weigh now. And then I got time to 40. I ran like a 4.68, I think. So time on the 40 and all that. And then we go through bag drills. I pull my calf.
Oh
Bro. So I'm running, and I felt like like the muscle just give up.
yeah.
So in my head, like, I saw, like, because when you watch, like, because I saw the Kevin Durant injury, like when he played with the Golden State, and I saw his leg just snap. So it felt like something just kind of just like snapped. So in
Yeah.
my head, I'm like, oh my god, I tore my Achilles. So then I'm done. Like, so then midway through it, I started jogging. Coach is like, hey, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Like, and then I'm just like, coach, like, something just hurt. And then I look at my calf, and it was like grade two tear. So then I fly back home the same day. And then it's like a 6 week recovery. So it took me about 6 to 8 weeks. I recovered, and I went back. Then I went back to Seattle. And I went back to Seattle the second time. And this is where it gets really crazy. I go back to Seattle the second time, and I forgot my my COVID card, my vaccine card.
Oh man.
So
Oh.
the reason that even happened was because, like, so when I got on the plane, I had my wallet with me, but I lost my wallet. I think it slipped out of my sweats.
Yeah.
So I get to the hotel, I tell them I don't have it. They're like, well, we can't let you work out. I tried everything. They're like, we can't let you work out. So they're flying me back home. And then 3 or 4 days later, got to hit me up again. They're like, do you have a new vaccine card? We want to fly you back. I was like, okay, bet. Fly me back. The workout went well. I signed with them. Then I was gonna play my first preseason against the Denver Broncos. So then this is like I get there like 3 days or 4 days before the game, and then just like learn this. So I have to learn like two positions. One is called like a Sam, and then the other is like a Leo. It's more like a defensive end, but you drop sometimes, but not as often as like a Sam. So I learned it. I'm learning, and then game day comes. There's a few plays that I knew. I was still trying to learn the playbook, so I didn't know. I didn't know everything. I get on the field. So I get on the field. My first play, I'm on kickoff. I
Yeah, special
jump.
teams, boy. Let's go. Let's
First play, I'm
go.
on kickoff, right? And then the crazy thing is, I jump off sides. My first play in the NFL, I jump off sides. I looked at the ref. The ref looked at me. The coach was like, he just looked at me. And he pointed at me. So I already knew it was me. So then the ref was just like, make sure you wait a second before you like start running, because I kind of like took off early.
Yeah.
So then, but after that though, I played. I almost ended up getting a sack in the NFL, but I mean, I didn't get a sack that preseason game. It was cool, and then obviously they had to cut the roster down to 53 man. So Seattle let me go, but then they told me that they were planning on bringing me back, and then they brought me back, and then I was signed on the practice squad, for like a week, and then they let me go again, and then now I'm signed to a futures contract.
So now, but now I want to dissect the last three statements you made a little bit further, because you mentioned
Okay.
kind of when they brought you back,
Mhm.
they signed you, then they
Mhm.
let you go again, and then you
Mhm.
just got signed like I think 10 days ago to a futures contract. There's a whole stretch of months between that, right? Am I right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
talk to me about that, because obviously, you're in the locker room, we're interacting with the guys, right? I mean,
Mhm.
you're obviously with the guys like such as the one of the greatest linebackers ever, Bobby Wagner, and all these other
Right.
guys. So kind of talk to me
Mhm.
about that experience for you, obviously, with the team and
So okay, so when I got there the second time and I saw the practice squad, I
yeah,
thought like because they all knew that I was still kind of new to football, but then I had the ability to play in the NFL, so they kind of knew that, and then they knew that like I just needed time to to like keep working with them to
right.
become the player that I can be. So then so then that week on the practice squad, we working. I ended up traveling. I ended up traveling with them. We played Green Bay, which was pretty cool to go to Green Bay and like watch the game, because the practice squad guys could stand on the sideline.
Yeah,
So it was a great experience watching the game and stuff. But then when I got let go, there was no. I mean, it's a business. It's the NFL. It's a business.
yeah,
So I wasn't upset. I wasn't mad. Anything. I was just like, I get it. So I'm gonna just go home and I'm gonna just keep working, like just get better. So so from when I got cut to now, I've literally just been training, training, and training and training. And then so after the NFL season ended, my agent hit me up. He was just like, yeah, I think Seattle is gonna bring you back and you're gonna sign a futures contract with them. So I was like, okay. So then now that I signed a futures contract with them and I get a whole off season with them, now Seattle is gonna see the best of me when it comes to camp.
100%.
Yeah.
Obviously with that, like you said, the full off season, and now that you're there, and obviously, I mean, I'm not sure when your OTA start. They start what, in March? Is it March or is it
I think at the end, I think the end of April.
end of April? Okay, so end of April. So that's when you'll probably start
Yeah.
reporting in. I think, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, you'll basically be able to get the opportunity and kind of talk to me about kind of the relationships you've made so far, even though in your limited time, right, with the team, on the practice squad,
Mhm.
what kind of relationships have you made with some of the teammates, in Seattle?
I've made so the one thing that I really liked about them. I mean, not that like I've been to any other team, so I can only talk about Seattle because that's the only place I've been. But
Yeah.
they make like they make football very fun. Like
Yeah.
they make it a great experience for you. Like they really make it like a fun environment. And the coaches, all the coaches, I have love for all the coaches. Every play on the defensive line, we all, like they were all cracking jokes because like obviously so my last name is Changam.
Yeah.
So then every time we went in the meeting, they would call me T'Challa from the Black Panther. So Yeah, so they were always cracking jokes like they were
Wakanda
saying like
forever.
Wakanda forever. Yeah, they were saying like Wakanda for Wakanda forever, which was funny. Like I like that. I like it makes it like a fun environment. Good
Yeah,
people to be around.
yeah,
So I built some good relationships with basically everybody on the D line, like LJ, Daryl Taylor, Al Woods, like all those guys, like Carlos Dunlap.
yeah.
I know his father. I know his dad just passed away. R.I.P.
Yeah.
I hope he's doing like well and stuff. But yeah, he gave me a lot of like knowledge about the game. Like he talked to me a lot about like who I like and who to watch and stuff like that.
100%. I think that it's good that you kind of have that friendly atmosphere. One of my former guests, one of my good friends, Lofa, who I'm gonna try to bring back on the show, who played in Seattle, right?
Hmm.
He won, he's a three-time Pro Bowler, and he was the member of their 35th anniversary team. He said the same thing. He's like, the culture's great. Pete Carroll, Pete's a great coach to kind of be
Great
with.
coach. I
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
yeah, because Lofa got to play with him in college, and he got to play with him in Seattle. His first season, that was Lofa's last season on the Seahawks. So
Hmm.
I think he said kind of, like Pete Carroll's almost like a Benjamin Button. It's sort of reverse aging. He gets older, but he's still like just the same youthful energy and
Yeah.
exuberance. Yeah, it permeates, right? It's kind
Oh
of
yeah,
contagious.
he's just always very energized. Like even at practice, like he comes in on practice, he has gloves on, he's throwing the football. Like because we have like in our indoor practice facility, there's a basketball hoop like on the like out of bound, like kind of like on the side, and he always gets the football and he tries to make it in, and sometimes he makes it in. He got pretty good accuracy. I'm not even gonna lie, but
Damn.
yeah, he's a really great coach. He's a really great coach.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. So obviously, kind of now that you're going to have this full off season and this full training camp and everything with Seattle, and you've already kind of met some of the guys. I mean, what are your expectations coming for this next season? And kind of talk to me about that.
Just the main thing for me is just keep getting like better every day
100%.
and just work extremely hard. Um, obviously obviously make the team, and I mean really just keep grinding, just keep getting better at get better at like my weaknesses. Like I'm gonna try to just be a player that I'm gonna just go out there and I'm gonna just give it my all.
What
Yeah.
would you say would be the main focus from the weaknesses, if you don't mind sharing?
Um, I say, I mean, especially being new to football, there's still a lot I have to learn. Like, I'm still learning pass rush moves. Um, I'm learning formations, understanding offensive formations. Uh, Another thing I need to learn is really like how to watch film on my own as well. I feel like a lot of people just kind of watch, but there's like a certain way to actually watch film on your own. Um, and I just say just the techniques.
Yeah.
It's really about like knowing and understanding those little like the little details.
Yeah, obviously those little nuanced details are what sets good players apart from great players, right? And
Right.
kind of getting blossoming into that role in that position. That's kind of and kind of what you said about being a third down guy. Levon Kirkland said the same thing for him. I'm not sure if you know Levon Kirkland, but he was the NFL left inside starting linebacker, consecutive starts streak leader. He still is. He holds a streak for most starts at left inside linebacker. And when I had him on the show last month, he also said the same thing. He was used as a third down guy in college at Clemson, but then when he came to the league to Pittsburgh, they transitioned him over to be inside. And so, I mean, it's a transition, right? And so for you, obviously, it sounds like you went from DN to OLB, and then now you're back to almost being a DN. Basically, you are a DN, right? Is that, are you
Right,
still?
right. I'm a like DN slash like outside linebacker.
So you are a hybrid, kind of like a Terrell Suggs
Yeah,
type, where they can use you off the edge if they need you, but you can also be in coverage and just basically kind of man the flat a little bit. So
right. Yeah.
yeah. So kind of what do you think from your perspective? Kind of what do you think you can bring, obviously, to Seattle at both positions this coming season, man?
Man, I mean, the way that I'm training this off season, just trying to get to the passer, just
Yeah,
rushing the passer, trying to get
rushing
to
the
the
QB.
quarterback. Oh, you see, that's my IG. That's
You gotta
my IG.
say it. Yeah.
Rushing the quarter. You feel me? Come
Yes,
on, man. That's
sir.
the
Yes. Yes, sir.
IG. So just that, like on the field, I'll just say just someone who just never gives up, always, 100% effort, chase the ball, get to the quarterback, just do anything the team needs me to do. And then just off the field, like a genuine guy, you know, um, someone who cares about people, you know, just because it's always good to check in with with people that you love and like just like friends and family and stuff like that.
100%. No, you're right. Kind
Yeah.
of connecting with people and like being close friends and family. And it's interesting because I think are you in Colorado right now?
Yes.
Yeah. So do you have? I think it sounds you do have strong roots in Colorado, right? I mean, do you spend? Is that where you prefer to be in your off season? Kind of
Right.
how's
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, pretty much.
I
Yeah.
love being in Colorado because I love training out here because
The altitude.
like yeah, the altitude obviously. And then also I can train in the facilities. I can use the facility like the Colorado facilities, like the for recovery, hot tubs, cold tubs, weight room, indoor facility, outside. And then also like a lot of my friends are here. So sometimes when I just need like downtime to just hang out with people, that I play football with, sometimes we just grab something to eat. And then Colorado is also a very like outdoorsy place
Yeah.
and the mountains. So it's just a beautiful place to be.
Absolutely, it's a great, beautiful place to be. It's a great place to kind of, like you said, with the connections you made at University of Colorado. You definitely have, a lot of guys, who you those lifelong bonds are everlasting. I think you can say the same thing for JUCO too. At least for me, like the JUCO guys, like Coach Tia, and the guys who actually played with on the team, like Manu and like other guys who end up making practice squads, for even or because rookie mini camp rosters, essentially
Mhm.
those bonds are everlasting. You know what I mean? And I think that,
Oh
that
yeah,
that's critical. Those relationships that you
yeah,
have.
yeah. Oh
So
yeah, no doubt. Those relationships are like very important. Like as time goes on, like you kind of like cherish the time you spent, with those guys, like on the field and everything that like all the work y'all put in together.
it's crazy because you think about it. It's like sometimes like even though like West Valley like we ended up not winning a game. I mean a lot of our guys still went on to go play at 4 years and
Yeah.
D2s and like some of them even like our quarterback ended up going to fucking playing the arena league. And I also had my little semi-pro session arena career. So I mean I'm pretty happy about
Yeah.
that. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? I mean
Yeah. And
if I
then
go like that, let me show you the whole wall. See, look at that. The SaberCats
man,
jersey right there.
yeah.
Cal Eagles, that's where we got this baby. The Chicago Falcons, that right there, right there. You can see that. That's right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. I
Yeah,
see.
yeah. The All Star jersey right there. That's the AIFA ball. And then that ticket was from Kobe night. To the Lakers. I'm a Lakers fan, and Kobe
Right.
Bryant, obviously, 2-2. Was it 3 days? Yeah, 3 days ago was the anniversary. I mean, I actually
Mhm.
went. I actually got to go down to Staples Center the game after the helicopter crash, and it was amazing, man. So, and a lot of my teammates, we all
Man.
share the same passions and interests, or they're Warriors fans, and they hate me for it, which is fine. So it's like I love it. like, bro, y'all can talk as much shit as you want, man. Lakers still got 17.
Oh yeah, that's like they have the most, right? Or is it the
Yeah,
Celtics?
yeah, yeah, them and the Celtics are tied for first place, 17 each.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Actually, yeah. Now let me ask you. Outside of obviously the Seahawks are probably your favorite team, or I mean, I'm sorry, what team would you grow up rooting for though? When you're a kid.
I've Lakers. Like
Yeah,
I've always been. So I was rooting for the Lakers a lot because of Kobe.
yeah.
He's my favorite player of all time. And then after he kind of like after he retired and everything, I personally didn't like have a team anymore. I just started to like players. So, but now like my favorite player now to watch is Giannis. I
Giannis is a
like the way he
beast.
dominant, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love the way he dominates.
And it's amazing because he brought back the old kind of big man power forward, like great footwork, like Akeem Olajuwon in the post. Like I'm just gonna bully my way to the rim, and there ain't shit you can do to stop me. You know what I mean? And that
Right, right.
it's
Especially being at 6'11".
oh my god. and going
It's
coast to coast,
ridiculous.
getting the ball
Yeah,
coast to coast, and then being able to do what he does. In the post. I don't know how he does it, Bree. Like I don't know. That's just crazy.
yeah. It's ridiculous. And also like his career, he's been I mean, at least I could say like the past 2 years he's won probably every like any award you can win.
He has. Yeah, MVP
Defensive player of
back,
the year, MVP,
MVP
MVP.
back. Oh my God, finals! Like it's insane. Like I mean, and they beat the Warriors recently. They beat the Nets. I'm just like, ooh, man, Milwaukee looking good. Also, Phoenix looking really good
Yeah.
too. Phoenix looking really good, but
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Phoenix is a really good team too. Yeah.
I'm surprised because I mean you're the Cameroonian reason. I thought you'd go with Embiid. Not a fan.
Embiid, hold on. But Embiid is my favorite center right now.
Okay, so
He's
like your
my favorite
favorite.
center right now.
Got it. So your favorite overall player is
Yeah,
Giannis. Your
yeah. So
favorite
like
center is
right.
Embiid. Got it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, my favorite center is Embiid. But when it comes to like an all time center, I'm a rule with Hakeem Olajuwon.
Yes, sir. The dream, baby. We
Uh,
know what time it is.
the dream, the dream. You know the shoulder work. Come on,
Oh
the
my God,
dream
the
team.
shoulder work, the shake, and the it's like, oh my God, I don't know how he does it, but you know,
Yeah, yeah.
the
Right.
craziest thing about Hakeem. So I'm Muslim, and so is Hakeem. So he fasted during Ramadan, and Ramadan sometimes
Mm-hmm.
it ran right over training camp and fall ball right for fall ball and fall camp. So
Yeah,
it'd be 95
yeah.
degrees. I don't know how, bro. Like I could not participate in the full practices. Like, but Hakeem he fasted from sunrise to sunset, and his stats were better during Ramadan than without it. Like he averaged 29 points, 10 rebounds, whatever. And then with Ramadan, he averaged 29.7 points, 11 rebounds, how many assists, and how many blocks. I'm like, how in the hell?
Oh my
Like,
God, bro. I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
yeah, I mean that shit's because, bro, you can't drink water during Ramadan. That's one of the key principles, and the fact that he was able to do that while observing and like really like adhering to the diet, it's incredible, dude. It's
Yeah,
incredible.
that's
I mean,
incredible. That's incredible. I couldn't do it.
yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's just I'm just like, bro, like football. I mean, like, and there's also NFL players who have done it, like Hussein Abdullah, Hamza Abdullah, and Ryan Harris, who won a Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos. I'm gonna probably have him on after the Super Bowl sometime. I mean, he also fasted during Ramadan, and I don't know. I really, I mean, bro, I can only participate in like a little bit of practice, and then, I mean, I'm just like, bro, coach, I can't because like you know how it is, right? Because you're sweating and you're losing so much water, and you have to hydrate. I mean, it don't matter if it's JUCO, D1, whatever, semi-pro,
Right.
NFL, right? It don't matter. Like you gotta hydrate because it's a physical collision sport, and you have to make sure that your body is fully rejuvenated and ready to go after each play. If you don't have the hydration or the electrolytes replenishment, you're gonna be basically shooting yourself in the foot for the next play. So it's like for me, I'm just like, man. I'm like, okay, coach. I'm like, I'll do maybe like a couple go rounds, on 1-on-1s and 7-on-7s, and after that I'm done.
I don't know how those guys do it, man. Props to them. Seriously.
Real
Props to
facts, bro.
them.
Facts. Okay, now let's talk about your other
Yeah,
interests.
props to them.
Outside of football, I see you have a fashion clothing line that you were talking about when you were on the podcast last year. What is that fashion line,
Yeah.
and kind of what's going on with that? Talk to me about that.
So I started the clothing line, me and my boy Malachi. It was just me and him who started it literally a year ago. February 1st is when we started it last year. So I kind of came up with the design, and we came up with the name Too Gifted, coming from both of us. I put it in my DM. So we came up with the name Too Gifted because I feel like sometimes like people forget that like everybody in this world has like a unique like skill set, like something
Yeah.
that they're gifted at.
Right.
So we just kind of came up with that just to spread awareness, and bring like positivity to like the community. It's just a positive message for everybody that like I mean, you can like everybody has a gift, but you have to like work on it, in order to like perfect it. So
And I
yeah,
think, and I think I heard you guys mention because Malachi, okay, Mali was on the podcast last year when Coach T and were hosting when you guys were the guests. So obviously, I
yeah, he
heard,
was.
yeah. So I kind of heard, and was Mali? He also played at Dianza, is that right?
Yeah, he played at the end. He was a DB.
He's a DB. Okay, yeah, that's what I thought. So like, he also played at Dianza, and then so you guys were teammates at the same time. So that's cool. Okay, I figured that because I
Yeah,
heard you guys talking about football, and he's also doing personal training right now outside of the Two
yeah,
Gifted
yeah.
clothing brand. Yeah. Okay, cool. That's what's up.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, cool. But yeah, no, I mean that's awesome because I totally agree with your message because we all have some sort of intrinsic gift, you know. Some of us maybe
Yeah.
football players, some of us like me, you know, I'm great at communication, I'm great at just public speaking, so I'm a speaker. I give presentation seminars. I also have my IT consulting business, and that's what I do outside. This podcast is just kind of just it's just my little side thing, you know. So it's like
Right, right,
cash
right,
project, you know what I mean? And
right.
also
And
kind of hmm,
oh, but I was gonna say also like I think the timing that we started the clothing brand was like a perfect timing actually, especially with COVID.
yeah.
I think a lot of people just kind of down on themselves. Like everybody, I mean, everybody deal with this, pandemic differently. So
100%. I think that's why. You know, it's funny you're saying the pandemic was a blessing. 'Cause a lot of people say, you know, oh my God. For me, it was a blessing too, because of my career in IT, right? I mean, a lot of the jobs, everyone started working from home, so I didn't have to commute 2 hours a day one way from here to
right,
SAC or
right.
right. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And so
yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's funny because like you know, there's opportunities in every kind of I guess in every kind of downturn. You know what I mean? The
Right.
pandemic for me opened up opportunities to also start this podcast and essentially kind of you know build the brand and also kind of also you know for my own consulting LLC kind of do that right and I mean
Yeah.
it's just been continually taking off you know and I'm happy proud of that you know but more
Right, right.
importantly than
Yeah.
that the like you said the opportunities if you're able to seize them and you're able to make the most of them in the downturn chances are you know like how many years down the line it'll basically blossom into something more that you couldn't have ever imagined like for you, obviously, that kind of what you talked about earlier, that your pro day, your numbers, right? They were able to kind of translate very well, you know, after the pandemic hit, because even though the 2020 season was basically kind of cut short or there was very limited fan attendance, this offseason, you know, they saw that and you're able to kind of be brought back in or get called Seattle. That's exactly what happened to me at the arena level, right? The San Jose Sabercats said, you know, great work, Osif, you know, come back next year, but then you know they end up not calling back. But my
Right.
film got sent over to the Stockton Wolves. They call me 2011. Hey, yeah, we saw your footage. You know, Coach Patton, blah blah. You're like, do you play R? Do you come in at the X or the Y? Like, you know, are you kind of how can we use? Like, I mean, are you using a 5 wide set? You know, I mean, and I told some Jim, yeah, I mean, I basically use an R. And you know, again, like you know, and even though that didn't work pan out, the next year I finally got signed, you know, to a team. Like
Right.
for you, it took 2 years. Hey, I mean, you're more talented than me. It's fine. So I mean, that makes sense. And so, you know, essentially, kind of with that, you know, I think the opportunities you seize in any type of downturn, you can make the most of any negative situation as long as you have the right mindset. You know,
Right. Right. That's
so
not that's facts. That's facts.
yeah, it's facts. So two gifted clothing line, cool. What else? So
Yeah.
now let's talk about some more fun. So obviously, you know, I mean, like you know, it sounds like you like Black Panther. So I mean, are you looking forward to the new movie coming out?
Oh yeah, because that was one that was I can honestly say that's like one of my favorite movies of all time. I mean, I like that, and I like the Avengers, like Incredible Hulk. Like I like that stuff, and
Yeah.
I'm excited. Like so, I'm excited to see how the next Black Panther is gonna play out, especially knowing the main character, the last one. He had passed away. R.I.P. to him.
Man, Chadwick Boseman, man,
But
rest in peace. One of the greatest
yeah,
actors of our generation. So
for sure, for
yeah.
sure. So I'm just kind of excited to see how the next one it's about to play out.
Yeah, because I think, I think the sister is gonna be the new kind of main hero. Or actually, no, I think Lupita Nyong'o is gonna be the
Yeah, I
main
think
star.
so. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
so.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting to
Uh,
see how that plays out. I mean,
yeah. I'm excited to watch it though. I'm excited to
I'm
watch
excited to
it.
watch it too. Yeah, yeah. It just kind of sucks because now you brought it up. You know, Chadwick Boseman, man, it would have been lit if
I
he was,
know it would have been
man.
because the first one already had like Michael B. Jordan. Those are
Oh
like some
man,
of like the best actors.
A-listers. You feel me?
Yes, yes, yes. So that was actually a good one. And you know what? There's actually a crazy this is actually crazy because the first time I watched first time I watched Black Panther, I remember the very first time I fell asleep because I thought it was the beginning. I thought the beginning was so boring.
Yeah.
So I was like, everybody liked this movie. Like I don't know why. I don't know why. So after I fell asleep the first time I watched it, and I was like the next day I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it another chance because usually sometimes it takes you 2 times, 3 times to watch a movie to really like it.
Yeah.
So the second time I watched it through. I was like, man, this is it for me. This is the movie for me. This
That's
is
how
low
it is.
key.
That's
But
how it is.
yeah.
No, you're right though, bro. Like, I mean, honestly, like that's how sometimes it does take you a few times to really get you kind of because not everything's everyone's cup of tea, and it does kind of. I mean, you do things need to grow on you a little bit. You know, I mean,
Right, right.
hey man, it's just like football, right? I mean, teams, they got to give you one or two shots before they finally say, okay, yeah, we like you. You know,
Yeah, yeah, that's facts. That's facts.
all
That's
facts.
facts.
Yeah, and kind of with tomorrow's NFC AFC Championship games, you don't have a dog in the fight because you're on the Seahawks. But who are you
Mhm.
going for, or who are you predicting to win, and what are you expecting for the Super Bowl?
So I was going. It's crazy because I was my prediction this whole playoff was Tom Brady was going. I can never bet against Tom Brady, but with everything going on right now, him and every retirement. I mean, I hope he can keep playing because he's like my favorite quarterback.
It's
But
crazy.
but
It's
uh
crazy, man.
but
Golly.
that father time is undefeated.
Yeah.
And then also I think the Rams gonna get it this year. I think the
You,
Rams.
what about my Niners though?
I think the Rams going. I think the Rams gonna get it. I
Oh, you
mean,
do.
because like
I put you on the
because so
spot,
so so
man.
the thing
Yeah.
is this though.
Yeah.
I feel like with the Rams, I feel like collectively they're a better team.
Yeah.
But the Niners obviously the defense with Nick Bosa. Nick Bosa is doing some crazy stuff over there. Debo Samuel's on offense and all that.
Yeah.
But I just feel like when it comes down to like the quarterback situation, also,
Ah,
I
I see
feel
what you're
like the
saying.
Rams.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I feel like the Rams just have like a better team.
It's funny you said that because my guest today, Ken Shamrock, earlier today, he said the same thing. He said because he played JUCO and he got a trial with the Chargers, and then but he ended up going and making a career in individual combat sports, right? But essentially, kind of with
Okay.
that, yeah. But he has strong football background and strong football knowledge. So he was talking about. He said the
Mhm.
Niners, like we talk about, if it comes down to Jimmy, I mean, and it comes down to Matt Stafford, we know who's winning. You know what I mean? But it's funny
Yeah.
because Jimmy, my guest yesterday, Marcus Ogden, who also was a 4 or 5 year NFL vet, younger brother Jonathan Ogden, right? I mean, he basically said that Jimmy is 6-0 against the LA Rams, and
Mhm.
the stats are not gaudy, and we've seen Jimmy choke away big game situations, but we've also seen him win big game situations, right? This
Yeah.
playoffs not so much because he almost gave away the game to the Cowboys, which was Marcus said. He didn't play great last week, right, against Green Bay. But
Right.
I mean, it's the defense, special teams, and I mean, credit special teams. Me being a special team guy, I love it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you too, right? Kind of getting bread and butter. So, but I
Mhm.
ultimately now, I mean, we'll see. Like to your point, because I mean, for what the Rams did last week to go into Tampa Bay and beat the defending Super Bowl champions and Tom Brady in the last 46 seconds, it's fucking insane. I mean, I'm just gonna
Yeah.
say it.
Oh yeah.
That's insane, bro. I mean, I can't believe they did that. Honestly, I can't. Like, I mean, they let them come back down 27-3. I was like, oh my god, Atlanta Falcons Super Bowl 51 repeat. Here we go again. You know what I'm saying? And like,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
yeah. And so, actually, I have a plaque. I don't know if you can see it. It's up there. See, that's Tom Brady from Super Bowl 51 signed. Right there.
Yeah. I see it.
Yeah, you
I
see it.
see
Yeah,
it. I see it.
yeah. So yeah, he signed. I got that signed. But
Mhm.
I mean, I think it's gonna be a great game because divisional games are always the best games. And it could come down to last play. It is at LA, and it's hard to beat the same team three
Oh
times in a
yeah.
year.
Right.
So we'll see.
Right.
We'll see.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It's gonna be a battle. It's gonna be a battle.
Now let's talk about Cincinnati though. I mean, what do you anticipate for that game? Because you got two good defenses. So
I feel like a lot of people are sleeping on
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow,
Yeah.
but I feel like both teams great quarterbacks. They're both great teams. But if I was to predict, I'm thinking maybe the Chiefs will come out on top.
That seems to be the case with most everybody. I think like I mean with the defending not defending AFC champions, right, coming into the game, at Arrowhead, difficult place to play. Patrick Mahomes, we've seen what we can do, but to your point, because since we've seen so much what Patrick Mahomes can do, people are sleeping on Joe Burrow, and Joe
Right.
Burrow is that dude. He's proven this year that he's dead. But it's funny we're talking about this because yesterday against Marcus Ogden, he's a Ravens fan because his brother and he also played there. Marcus did, and so he said that as a Ravens fan, he's like I'm nervous for the next kind of couple of years, 5 years, that Cincinnati is positioning themselves to really be the powerhouse of the AFC North, and this season has been Joe Burrow's coming out party. You know,
Right.
and I mean it could literally go either way, but I think that's going to be an amazing game to watch too. I'm hoping that
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a great game. Both
yeah
games gonna be gonna be pretty good games. I don't know. I'm not sure if both games gonna be able to top last weekend,
Oh
but
yeah.
it's gonna both of them gonna be pretty great games though.
It's gonna be pretty great games, and it's gonna be great to
Yeah.
see. Man, I
Oh
can't
yeah.
wait. Yes, sir.
Oh yeah.
UFC. You said you're from Cameroon. Francis Ngannou defended his championship last week. How you feeling about that? Talk to me. One pro athlete to another.
Hey, I'm gonna always root for. I'm gonna always root for Francis Ngannou. You know, a crazy story was I was in San Diego like this past summer,
Yeah.
and then so me and my friends went. You know, me and my friends went out, and at the time I had like a mohawk, kind of like a just kind of like a high top,
Yeah.
and I went out, and then this dude came up to me. Are you Francis Ngannou? I was like, first I started laughing. First I started laughing, and then I was like, nah, I'm not him. Like I was like, so I'm not him, but I'm his brother.
Yeah.
And then he was like, oh my god, you're Francis Ngannou brother. So I was just messing with him. I was like, yeah. Like I'm his brother. And then he's like, you don't mind if we take a picture together? And I was like, nah, bro, let's take a pic. And then we took a pic. He tagged Francis Ngannou of everything. He's like, bro, I just met your brother tonight and all that. So it was pretty funny. So it was pretty funny because it's crazy because when like most of the time when Francis Ngannou is fighting, like a lot of my friends would be like, oh, I see you're fighting tonight. Like a lot, I don't know what it is, but people say I kind of look like him, but yeah, but hey, I'm gonna always support my African brothers. Him and Usman.
Usman, Gamur
Usman,
Usman, fellow Muslim
yeah.
brother for me.
Oh
I
yeah.
definitely support him.
I'm gonna always support my African brothers, man.
It's crazy to see how the UFC's landscape has changed to now where you have African brothers dominating Israel. Adesanya, Kamaru
Mhm.
Usman, Francis Ngannou. You know,
Mhm.
all different Africans. Obviously, Israel's from Australia or New Zealand. I think he's not really. I mean, he is African, but he wasn't born and raised in Africa. I think he was born. Was he born? He wasn't born. I don't even know. I think he was born in New Zealand. But Kamaru obviously immigrated to U.S. At a young age, like you did. Francis was
Yeah,
just
yeah.
Francis just I think he was born and raised his entire life in Cameroon. And then he came here as like an adult. I think I'm
Yeah,
not
yeah,
sure.
he did.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah,
but
he did.
it's amazing to see the crossover.
Oh
One of
yeah.
and I'm not sure if you know this. Well, you probably don't, but I'm gonna tell you anyways because now I mean, Velasquez Cortez, he knows this because we played together and we're semi-pro.
Mhm.
I actually have fans and supporters in Ghana, football players and some in Ivory Coast because throughout my playing career in arena and semi-pro, I was able to attract a following on social media, on my Facebook account and stuff like that. And so I had one of this young, he's only 21 years old, Sibali Muhammad, and he was able to come on my show 2 weeks ago, and he's like, it's great to
Mhm.
be with a legend like you. It's one of the great legends of the world. And I mean that means a lot to me, right? But I don't consider myself anything more than just what I was able to do on the gridiron. The point of the show is what are we doing off the gridiron, right? So that's
Right,
why I'm
right,
asking
right,
you.
right.
Obviously, but for you, you're the first active NFL player to be the guest on the show. So your story is different. You know what I mean? So you're going to be doing everything on the gridiron. So we're going to look forward to that.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah,
So
yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, it definitely is amazing to see how Africa and how African athletes are just literally. I mean, not to say it's anything new, right? Because we've seen it, in all different pro sports. But it's almost, and especially in mixed martial arts. That's why I think it's a big deal because we haven't seen it in mixed martial arts at this level, at this rate.
Yeah, and it seems like you said, it seems like they're the ones who are like kind of dominating the
They
sport.
are, yeah.
Yeah, they are the ones like dominating the sport. So that's kind of like a different. It's just like a different like I don't know, like it adds like a different aspect to the game. I guess, or I mean, I can say at least that the fact that they're dominant, it gives other people at least like like a view of like, oh, you can achieve anything you want to do.
That's exactly my point. You know what I mean? It really gives them that inspiration
Yeah,
and that because you're not gonna be limited to think, oh yeah, only like whatever kind of race dudes can do this sport. You know what I mean? Like Khabib
right,
also like
right,
and also I mean I've actually been to Morocco twice in the past year, last year, and football is a big thing over there too. So I mean, they follow me on Instagram and like Facebook and whatnot, and I mean, I've done some programs out there, and I hope to go back soon, and
right.
kind of do some more work there because I mean, African like athletes and just spreading the outreach. I mean, it's great. It's really great. To kind of get involved for me personally, because whatever I can pass down to someone else. I really hope that helps them open up an opportunity, or opens up an opportunity for them to continue and advancing their career, however which way they want to go.
Right. Oh yeah, for sure, for sure.
All right, man. Shoot. Wait, it was great talking to you. So, what else? Anything else you want to share? Any closing thoughts or anything else you want to talk
Uh,
about?
okay, yeah, I have something I want to share.
Sure.
This just involves like kids going either JUCO or kids going D1 or just kids just like leaving high school to go to the next level. D1 is not like going Division 1 is not always the way to get to the NFL. I feel like a lot of people sleep on the
Yes, sir.
oh, I have to go Division 1 to
Yes,
go to the
sir.
NFL. But there's a lot of guys who go D2 go to the NFL. There's guys even in D3 who goes to the NFL. But obviously, the lower you go, the chances get smaller and smaller. So I feel like a lot of people just always, oh, I want to go D1 and stuff like that. I mean, if you have the talent to go D1 and show out. But if you're a guy that, cause it's crazy as this sound, but like within yourself if you're a D1 player or not.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know that stuff within yourself. So I mean, if you think you're a D2 guy, like pursue that and don't feel like just because you win D2, like you don't have a chance. Like anybody can go to the NFL from anywhere. And then also my next thing I was gonna say is um don't get discouraged if things don't happen as planned. I feel like a lot of people get discouraged, and I'm one of those guys. I would speak on that, like, because I thought 2020 was my year to go to the NFL. That didn't happen, and I was discouraged a lot. But then now, going through the process and all that, you kind of realize that like everything has its timing and when stuff is or supposed to happen, and like patience really is a virtue. Um, so just be patient, just keep grinding. Everything gonna happen the way it's supposed to happen. And yeah, that's all I got really.
100%. No, great words of
Yeah.
wisdom, and I want to just kind of echo those sentiments from my experience. I
Hmm.
didn't go to a 4 year. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
but for
Yeah.
me, going to the NFL was never a goal. My goal was I want to just go play JUCO and can prove to myself I could play. That was it. You
Hmm.
know. And essentially, to anyone listening to this, any prospect student athletes, anyone out there, who's looking to go JUCO, D1, whatever level, I don't care, D2,
Yeah.
D3, NAIA, right? Because I've had guests from all levels on the show.
Hmm.
Essentially, the point is, to Alex's point and to my point, which I'm going to echo, essentially, is that whatever level you get the opportunity, make the most of that opportunity. That's it. You know,
Right.
literally, if you can make the most of your opportunity, right? To your point, to Alex's point, it's going to be the opportunities will be less at the big school. I've had coaches on the show who have said go D1. I've coaches on the show who said don't fuck. No one gives a fuck about D1. Just ball, right? Ball out, right?
Right.
And so essentially, I'm just going to say that wherever you get an opportunity, whether it's walking on a D3, which I had the option to do, but I decided to go take my shot at the Arena League, or if it's going to get a D1 scholarship and basically pursue that full force and try to get to the league, or try to do that at D2 or D3 or NAIA. More power to you.
Yeah.
Just go hit
Yeah.
it. You know.
Yeah. And then like just anything you do, I mean, everybody know their dream. I mean, mine was playing the NFL. I don't know, like other, people got different dreams than I do, but
Yeah.
the one thing I'd say is like anything that somebody tells you that's negative, I mean, just use that as motivation. And then the one thing that I hate most, especially, is that kind of messed me up is somebody else trying to tell you what you can and can't do. Like
Yeah.
scouts projecting me to run a 4.8. Like I told my agent, the day I ever run a 4.8 in football is the day that I'm done. I'm done playing. You could.
Yeah.
I'm so serious. I could be three. I could be 290 pounds. I can gain 20 pounds right now, and you tell me to run a 40. The day I run a 4.8, I'm I'm hanging up the cleats.
Yeah.
Cause I know my physical like ability. Like I was blessed. Like God blessed me with the physical ability that I have. I've always been like a good runner. Like just I've always been a good athlete. So then now I'm just trying to learn the game of football. But yeah, that's the one thing I say. Like just because somebody said you can't do anything, like don't listen to don't listen to all that. Like only you know what you got in your heart.
100%. And kind of to your point, that's what motivated me. Because when Chabot College's coach said, "Yeah, you're not going to be able to make it anywhere because it's going to be very difficult because you never played." You know,
Bro, yeah.
like I mean, I'm I could have literally right then and there quit, but I was
Mhm.
on a podcast last week where they interviewed me, and that episode's gonna be released next week. Their
Mhm.
podcast, kind of living your purpose,
Yeah.
living your best purpose podcast, and that's exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
What's your purpose and what's your vision? What's your objective? Do not let anyone derail you from reaching that objective, because if you know
Exactly.
it intrinsically that you can do it, you'll make it happen. You know?
Exactly. Exactly. And then like my thing also is I don't know if you've seen, but Lamar Jackson always wears this shirt that says work harder, nobody cares or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
nobody cares, work harder or something. I mean, like us it's crazy because us true, like that statement is so true because if you don't put in the work and you're trying to be in the NFL and you don't make it, nobody is going to care.
Right.
Like nobody cares. Like you have to know the amount of work that you put in. So I mean, that's just like the straight, the straight like truth. Like that's just like just being honest with yourself. Like you just got to put the work in, and then everything gonna work itself out. Literally, everything gonna work itself out. Like if you're supposed to be in the NFL, it's gonna happen. If you're supposed to be a musician, it's gonna happen. Whatever it is you want to do, you put the work in, and you believe in God. The sky's the limit.
100%. The sky's the
Yeah,
limit. You know what I mean? Depending on who you are, I'm just going to give you guys 360 one more time, all my listeners and viewers. Of course, God made some good things happen for me because I stayed with it. And I
oh
really
yeah,
don't care what anyone's opinions can be or whatever. Because to your point about being detracted, I had so many fucking detractors, even outside coaches, like other players,
right.
teammates. They'd always say, "Oh yeah, no, this dude's a whatever, like what, blah blah blah, such and such, yeah, da 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 da." They're all like all in the ear, and you know what I mean. It's kind of hard to filter that shit out and keep
Mhm,
going. You know what I mean?
mhm.
And even now, they're like, "Oh yeah, your rings ain't shit. Like you didn't play in the league. Oh, hey,
Right.
okay, okay,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you got it.
right.
You got it." But
Mhm.
hey, for me as a kid who never got to play and never had the opportunity to play in high school, these rings are everything. And if I show it to former athletes, not just you, but other NFL All Pros, they all give me the same kind of respect that you've given because we understand what it takes to sacrifice and continue playing post high school, right? At
Right,
the collegiate
exactly.
and the post collegiate level. So
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Cause if you think about it, I mean, this is something that I always talk to my friends about. If you think about it, when you're little, you go like elementary school, you can play football. And the crazy thing is like when you play football when you're little, there's always the next step. Like even if you don't play in elementary school,
yeah,
you got middle school. You don't play middle school, you got high school. And it's like you always got that. But after you get out of high school, is when football can end for you like that. Cause if you're not like a good high school player and
yeah,
you don't get the offers or you don't get any offers, then like going to any power five or anything like that is out the picture. Then you have to go JUCO. And then after that, it's like that's when the talent level becomes like, and all the guys who really put the work in, like those are the guys who take that next step.
yeah,
Because it's not guaranteed that like, oh, there's something next, kind of like going to middle school to high school. Because if when you're in middle school, there's always high school. But after college, it's like NFL. If you can't make the NFL, that's it for you. You
yeah.
gotta like that's it, yeah. So I mean, just work hard, man. Just keep working hard. Don't listen to outside noise. And obviously, the game that we play, just sports in general. That if you got social media, I mean, we all know like you could be the best player in the world, and there's still gonna be hate because that's just the world we live in. People always gonna judge. So just don't listen to that and just keep grinding.
Just keep grinding, keep eating, and keep going, man.
Mhm.
That's the lessons
Yeah,
takeaways, man. Alex,
yeah.
anything else you want to close out with on this episode?
Um, yeah, I'm gonna just give a shout out to my boys, Georgia. Shout out to my parents. I always try to thank God like whenever I get the opportunity because sometimes we get kind of sometimes we take things for granted.
Yeah,
So I always want to thank God. All the coaches that have helped me become the player and the man that I am today. Thank all those people. And then I want to thank you for having me on the podcast. And that's all I got, man. That's all I got.
hey man, pleasure having you. Peace and blessings all year, and looking forward to your success, and looking forward to having you back on, man, after this season. Because I'm
Oh
sure there's
yeah.
gonna be some big headlines coming out of Seattle for number 50. Is it
Oh,
50?
this is going.
50? What number?
I mean, as of right now, they got me wearing 58, but I don't know if I want to keep the number. But I'm still kind of deciding because I want to start my own trademark.
Yeah. So you might be
Yeah,
switching.
yeah,
Okay, so then
yeah,
have
yeah.
no whatever
But
number it is, Changam.
hmm oh yeah, yes sir, yes sir. I appreciate.
Nope. Did I lose you?
Hope I hope everything goes well for you. And I was just gonna say, stay safe. Anybody out there listening, be safe out there. Make smart decisions.
100%. Stay safe. Stay blessed. And I mean, I mean, stuff's going stuff. If I think I want to close out one thing though. I think obviously, like you
Okay.
said about smart decisions. You know what I mean? A lot of things that that could derail us. Because of one bad decision, whether it's financial, emotional, physical. If you make a bad
hmm
decision, don't let that be the last decision you make. You know what I mean? Don't let that
Right.
derail you from
Right.
reaching your objective, because I do think whenever someone gets caught up, right, and they make these wrong decisions, it's really hard to find that inner strength to really will them to get to their objective. And I
hmm
mean, I was there. I was there in high school, kind of, with when I wasn't hanging out with the right people, I wasn't taking class seriously my first 2 years, and I was able to kind of concurrently enroll at the JUCO and finish, end up graduating high school a semester early with the honor roll my last year, and I was able to walk on
Right. Right.
SGCC. So I mean, I
Yeah.
want everyone to take that lesson, that takeaway, that anything is possible, and don't let any little setback interfere with the bigger picture.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
Right.
100, man, 100,
100, man.
a
Hey,
hundred,
Alex.
a
Hey,
hundred,
brother.
man.
I appreciate you having you on, man. Good shit, boy. And congratulations on making the Seahawks. Rookie defense
Hey,
futures future. Actually, what is the futures contract? I don't understand what that means.
so so if Future's contract, I mean, even me myself, I'm not like I just know a little bit of it, not too much of it, but basically, just what it means is, um, you go through OTAs, summer, and all that, and then you go through training camp. But obviously, you got to make the team. So to me, really, it's just I don't think of it as anything more than an opportunity for me to play football.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, is like you still have to show. It's not like, oh, it's guaranteed a spot on the team. Like, let's say I go to training camp and I'm not a player that I'm supposed to be. They're gonna cut my ass.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it doesn't guarantee anything. It's just probably yeah, really doesn't guarantee anything. So you still got to just come in and work, and then just keep finding your way to a spot. It's basically like getting a workout and signing for off season. Like it's all that stuff is the same shit.
Same shit. But hey, man.
Yeah.
Hey, it's something. Hey, it's still big major milestone, major achievement. So congratulations
Oh
on
yeah.
that.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that a lot. Appreciate that a lot.
100%. All
All
right,
right.
ladies and gentlemen, Alex Changam. Alex, God bless. Take care. Stay safe, and talk to you soon, brother.
God bless. Stay safe too, man. You have a good one.
You too. All right.
All right.